Hello everyone, I am the Pokemon Professor, as you know. As you may not know, is I am also a huge Marvel nerd. I started watching the X-Men animated series when I was very young, and that led me into getting into the X-Men movies, and later the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, which are just incredible. Spider-Man Far From Home is my favorite movie of all time. A lot of people seem to not like it, which saddens me, but I love that movie. I've been watching Hawkeye. Hawkeye is great, and I'm so hyped for Spider-Man No Way Home, which comes out this Thursday, I believe. If you spoil it in the comments, if you see it early somehow, I hate you and you're stupid. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to mix my passions of Marvel and Pokemon by giving some of the MCU Avengers and a couple extra characters from mostly the MCU, and give them Pokemon teams, as if Pokemon existed in the MCU. Honestly, that'd be so cool. So, with no further ado, let's get started. For Iron Man, I went pretty simple. His ace would be the Scizor, who is there because it is wearing red armor, just like him, and it's even kind of it has his hand out, kind of like the famous Iron Man repulsor pose, which is definitely accidental, but still quite funny. Genesect is there for the same reason as Scizor. It's wearing red armor, though this time specifically, it's a man-made Pokemon that is wearing the red armor. It's like an ancient fossil they put it on, which seems like something he would do, like the Ultron situation. Ultron might have a Genesect too. He has a Metagross. It is a possibly robot Pokemon made of metal, but it is also a psychic type. It's super smart. It's a supercomputer Pokemon. Just like him, super smart. Electrode is also here. It's a straight up bomb, and he used to make weapons. It's also red like him and possibly not organic like a robot. Some of these Pokemon, like Electrode and Metagross, they make it confusing on whether they're organic or not, but that is a video for another time. Last up, Porygon 2 and Rotom. Porygon 2 is a straight up man-made Pokemon, and I feel like that's something that Tony would do if there were Pokemon in his world. He'd just create another one. I didn't give him Porygon Z because Porygon Z was like a glitched, messed up version, so that didn't make much sense. So I wanted to give him the most evolved version possible, which is Porygon 2. It was also designed for space travel, which is something he later designed his suits to do, so maybe he used Porygon 2 to do that. I don't know. Last of all, Rotom, it possesses electronic devices. He makes a lot of electronic devices, obviously. I like to imagine maybe he has it like inside of his suit and it could just like repair if it needs to. At least like before his nanotech suit. Anyway, that is the team for Iron Man. Next up is Captain America as Steve Rogers. I will cover Falcon in a later video if this does popular. First of all, Wartortle. It looks a lot like him. It has war in its name. It's like a soldier, and it has those like wing-like feather ears that resemble, I mean the MCU version of Captain America kind of just has the wings painted onto the side of his helmet, but usually they're just like straight up wings popping out of his helmet. It's very odd, but yeah. So it also has a shell, which is kind of like a shield. It works. Lucario is a fighting type, so kind of a soldier, but it's also is partly made out of metal, at least with its spikes. Yeah, I think it works. And Alolan Sandslash is not only a reference to him getting frozen in ice, but once again, it's steel and ice type, so steel kind of like his shield, but also mostly just the ice thing. Sirfetch'd is there. It's an honorable warrior with a shield. Bastiodon is also there. Its entire face is a shield. A lot of these are shield-based. And last of all, Braviary, the most American Pokemon. That is the team for Captain America. Now, for Thor's team, most of his team, 5 out of 6, are just there because he's the god of thunder. I mean, that's the only reason. He's the god of thunder. They're thunder legendaries. It works. Now, I always knew I wanted to include Zapdos, Raikou, Thundurus, and Tapu Koko, but I wasn't sure about Zekrom because Thor is the god of lightning and thunder. Thor is not the god of the electricity running through your power socket. And, well, Tapu Koko, Thundurus, Zapdos, and Raikou are based on, like, thunder and lightning gods. Zekrom's electric type because his tail is shaped like a generator. Or an engine. So, in that case, he doesn't really fit, but he's an electric type legendary. I think it's fine for him to have this. Also, it's from Unova, based on New York. So, maybe he caught it during the battle in the first Avengers. Maybe that's stupid. I don't know. So you could kind of see it as like his connection to mankind over just Asgard, who the rest of his team show off. The last member of his team, though, is Mega Ampharos. Now, there are 2 main reasons for this. I mean, yes, it's electric type, obviously, so in that case it fits. First of all, in Norse mythology, Thor had 2 goats that pulled his chariot. I know it's a sheep, not a goat, but it still has like horns like a goat, or just a horned sheep, which also exists, but still, it's kind of a reference to that. But the main reason is its fabulous hair. If you've seen What If, there are a lot of jokes in that about Thor's fabulous hair. So, yeah, it's a reference to that. Anyway, that is the team for Thor. Now, for Hulk's team, a lot of people say that Hulk shouldn't have fighting types on his team because he's not like a skilled fighter, he just smashes things. So while half of his team is fighting type, they have reasons beyond just being fighting type. Primeape is super angry. It's constantly angry. The Pokédex says that sometimes they just explode from stress, which sounds horrifying. Oh my gosh. But it mostly just smashes things instead of being a trained fighter. Conkeldurr is the same thing. It's a buff, greenish guy. It's holding 2 smashed pillars. It possibly broke off of a building of some kind. That seems like something Hulk would do. Last of all, Machamp, shiny Machamp, who is a skilled fighter, but look at it. It's a buff green guy with whose pants even have a purplish glint, just like Hulk's classic pants. Next up is Darmanitan. It's based on some sort of monkey, obviously, but because of that, it has big fists that obviously it could smash with. But also, it has a Zen mode where it becomes a psychic type. So, and psychic types are stereotypically smart. So it's a smart thing that transforms and becomes a buff, smashy thing. Kind of like the transformation from Bruce Banner to Hulk. Morpeko is similar. It is possibly inspired by Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, also an inspiration for the original Hulk. It has one normal form, and then this form where it's just angry. It's hangry form. Morpeko might just straight up be a reference to the Hulk, but I doubt it. Last of all is Mega Swampert. The name Swampert comes from swamp and expert. So it's an expert, a smart person, that transforms and becomes really buff. Just like Darmanitan or Bruce Banner and Hulk. Yeah, it really works. So that is the team for Hulk. Next up is Hawkeye. By the way, if you haven't seen the Hawkeye show on Disney+, it is fantastic so far, but apparently it has the lowest like people watching of any Marvel show, go watch Hawkeye. It's very good. If you're watching this video, you should go watch Hawkeye. Anyway, for his team, first of all, Decidueye has to be on his team. Like, if I didn't put it on there, every comment would be like, where's Hawkeye's Decidueye? There it is. See it? He has it. It's an archer. You could also say bird. He has hawk in his name, but that's stupid. Crobat is there kind of as a reference to him going deaf, but which happened in Hawkeye, by the way. But it's also purple, like his classic color scheme, and the color scheme he is going to take up in the Hawkeye series. Barraskewda is there because it's partly based on an arrow. Gliscor is there because it's purple first of all, but you can also see its stingers as kind of like a arrow, sort of. Not the greatest reason, but I still feel like Gliscor works. It's also kind of like an assassin Pokemon, which he kind of is. And then last of all are his Excelgor and his Samurott, which are there as a reference to his Ronin identity in Hawkeye and Avengers Endgame. Samurott has swords that go into its shell, but then it pulls them out and they get longer, which is just like his Ronin sword, as we see in Hawkeye. And Excelgor straight up kind of just looks like Ronin. It's like a ninja-y Pokemon, mostly black, but with some red and green. Yeah, I think it works pretty well. Anyway, that is the team for Hawkeye. Next up is Black Widow. First of all, Ariados. Her name is Black Widow. I had to give her the poisonous spider Pokemon. And then Inteleon is a spy/assassin. Same with Greninja, who's partly based on assassins, though also ninjas, obviously. So I think both of those fit. And then there is Purloin, who's like a sneaky thief, which I also think works. Weavile is like a kind of assassin Pokemon. It has sharp claws, it's stealthy. That also works in my opinion. And last of all, Zoroark, which uses, it's sneaky first of all, but also uses illusions to look like other Pokemon, which reminds me of that mask that she used in Winter Soldier that made her look like someone else that later came back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, that is the team for Black Widow. Next up is Spider-Man, the other Marvel character everybody's talking about this week. I'm so flippin' hyped for Spider-Man No Way Home. I think it's like the most hyped movie of all time. Like, even over Endgame, I feel like people are more excited for this. I can't wait to see this movie. Now, for this team, it's mostly MCU. I do use the MCU image of Spider-Man, but I do feel like this team could work for either the Amazing Spider-Man or the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. So, if either of those Spider-Man are your favorite, this team also works for them. I'm not going to create a whole other video just for other Spider-Men. This team works for all of them. First of all, the 3 spider Pokemon. Araquanid, Ariados, Galvantula. They're just there because they're spiders. I feel like if Pokemon existed in the Marvel Universe, Spider-Man would get bitten by a radioactive Spinarak. Just out of the small spider Pokemon, that one fits the best in my opinion. And I imagine Ariados as his ace. Maybe. I could also see it being Goodra. Goodra is there because it's incredibly strong, but it's also super nice, which is just like him. He's a nice guy, but he has a lot of power, but he doesn't use his power for mean reasons. With great power comes great responsibility. He doesn't kill people, except for those aliens in Endgame, but we don't talk about that. So, I feel like Goodra works in that case. Leavanny is there just because of its web-making things. It, makes tons of things out of web. It has a lot of webbing. Or, is it like silk? I don't know. I'm just gonna call it webbing. Basically, shoots webs like him. Same with Caterpie, who's just there because it shoots webs. It's small. Some might say I should have just given him Butterfree, but Butterfree doesn't work because I don't think it sprays webs at that point. But that's one of the main things Caterpie does. So, anyway, that is the team for Spider-Man. Next up is Wolverine. I know that Hugh Jackman Wolverine isn't part of the MCU. I'm not that stupid, don't worry. It's just he's the only live-action Wolverine we have. If we get an MCU version of Wolverine, which I think is going to happen like 2025, they said, I'll make a sequel to this video and I'll use the new image, the actor of MCU Wolverine, and maybe I'll change up his team. But for now, just the X-Men universe one. First of all, Shiny Mega Lucario. It's super strong. It has the same color scheme of yellow and blue, which is its classic costume colors. It has metal claws on the outside of its hands, and a lot of people theorize that Lucario has a metal skeleton, and that's one of the reasons it's steel type, and I think that's pretty cool. And, same with Wolverine, obviously. Excadrill, Sandslash, Zangoose, and Berserker are there because of their sharp claws, specifically metal claws for Berserker and Excadrill. They have long claws, that's kind of the only reason. And then last of all, Typhlosion is partly based on a Wolverine. Maybe. It looks like a Wolverine. His name is Wolverine. So, yeah, I think that works. That is the team for Wolverine. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed because I had a lot of fun with this, and it's definitely something I will do again. But you guys are going to have to leave suggestions down below. I'll definitely do other Marvel characters. Some of the other Avengers, or probably the Guardians of the Galaxy is probably one I should do soon. But to celebrate the release of Spider-Man No Way Home, next video, which will be very soon, because I've been gone for a while, I need a better upload schedule, I'm sorry. Next video, I will be giving Pokemon teams to the Sinister Six. Or at least what I assume will be the Sinister Six in Spider-Man No Way Home. We only have 5 confirmed members, so I'm just going to guess the 6th, and hope I'm right. Anyway, that'll be next week. Be prepared for that, and I'll see you in that video. Goodbye, everyone.